Mike Johnson is sweating like he just got caught looking at something he wasn't supposed to on the computer.
The cookies have been reset.
We all know that he and his son use an app to make sure that they don't watch that kind of stuff. And if you didn't know that, well, unfortunately, now you do. Mike Johnson is a weirdo and a liar, and now it's more clear than ever as he tries to backtrack on his lie that Trump was an informant for the FBI.
He kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down.
Everyone immediately pointed out that it sure is strange that Trump was an FBI informant for something that he describes as a Democrat hoax. But now that Mike Johnson is getting pushback on it, he's immediately folding like a paper kite. Mike the Kite Johnson, windy and fragile.
What do you mean by that?
What I was referring to in that long conversation was what the victim's attorney said. More than a decade ago, President Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago, and he was one of the only prominent people, as everyone has reported, not President Trump, but everybody about him, that he was willing to help law enforcement go after this guy who was a disgusting child abuser, sex trafficker, all the allegations. That's what they heard. So the president was helpful in that. I don't know if I use the right terminology, but that's common knowledge and everybody knows that. So this is much ado about nothing.
Did the president tell you this specifically about his involvement?
I was recounting what others have said. The president and I have talked about the Epstein evils many times. He's as disgusted by it as everybody else. He has long had a history of acknowledging that, and he has said repeatedly he wants everything to come out, all credible information, everything for the American public to decide.
Was he ever asked to wear a wire or anything like that?
I have no idea. No, I'm not saying that. I have no information about that whatsoever. I was repeating what has been common knowledge for a long time. The president was helpful in trying to get Epstein, for the law enforcement to go after Epstein. That's always been my understanding. That's common knowledge. It's the public's understanding. I was not breaking news there, okay? What I'm trying to emphasize is that the president is as disgusted about this as everyone is, all people of good conscience. We heard from the victims last week. It was gut-wrenching to hear their accounts. Many of them came out here and did it to a broader audience, to the public. But there's as many as 1,000 other victims, hundreds of young women, now some of them middle-aged women, who were subjected to these abuses for a long, long time, and justice is long overdue. So we're not just investigating Epstein and what happened, but why the justice system failed these women for so long. That is why the House Oversight Committee is on this so aggressively, and as you saw, the latest developments, I think Chairman Comer and some other members are going down to Florida. They're going down to the Epstein estate to look at visitor laws at the estate. By the way, none of this is encompassed in the discharge petition gambit. This is what the Oversight Committee is tasked to do. That is what they are doing in a bipartisan fashion. You have very aggressive members on both sides of the aisle that are on it, and we are greatly comforted by that. So we fully support it.
Thank you.
Interesting. So now he's saying that he was referring to a conversation that Trump had with the FBI a decade ago when they were investigating Epstein. But if what he said was true about Trump hating Epstein so much and wanting to do everything he can for the victims, then how come Republicans are refusing to sign on to Tom Massey's petition to release the client list? House GOP leaders are urging their members to steer clear of the discharge petition, aiming to force the Trump administration to release all the government files on Jeffrey Epstein. In a closed-door meeting in the basement of the Capitol, Speaker Mike Johnson called on GOP lawmakers to instead support the efforts of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee, which is seeking more disclosures on the Epstein case from the DOJ, the Epstein estate, and former federal law enforcement officials who worked on the case, i.e. a carefully prepared and heavily redacted version of the files. It's clear as day that they're really doing this because Trump and Epstein were best friends for years, and the more that people dig into it, the more we see Trump's name pop up over and over. The Wall Street Journal just published Trump's alleged birthday letter to Epstein, along with the crude drawing of a woman that we heard about before. This is the actual letter with his signature at the bottom, crudely drawn as pubic hair, and a girl's figure drawn over the transcript of a very strange conversation. It reads, voiceover, there must be more to life than having everything. Donald, yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey, nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald, we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald, enigmas never age, have you noticed? Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Donald, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. If that's not the creepiest fucking shit you've ever heard in your life, you couldn't write a more clearly pedophilic letter than this. And of course, MAGA is quick to jump to Trump's defense. They're claiming that this proves the whole thing was fake, showing examples of Trump's signature here. Time for News Corp to open that checkbook. It's not his signature, it's defamation. Here you can see a version of Donald Trump's signature, but people are pointing out that this isn't his only signature. Harry Sassan said, "Hey here, numbnuts," a letter that Trump wrote to Lillian Jane Volk in 1995 with a very similar signature to what we see on the Epstein letter. Here's another example. Orrin, I miss you. You're a very special man. I hope Utah is enjoying all of the land I made available to you with your blessing. Donald, very similar signature there. Even him here signing a woman's chest with a very similar signature as the one on that letter. The Republicans are having a hell of a time trying to get around this one.
I mean, anybody can do a signature. We've seen the auto pen's been used quite a bit with the Biden administration. So I've never known Trump to be much of an artist either. So I kind of draw that into question.
There's a history of him drawing stuff.
The thing is, it's been there for 4 years and now it's just come out. I just don't buy it.
So you think really someone might have just forged this somehow and sent this to the app?
Somehow it's so easy to do. I just don't buy any of it right now because we have a prior administration that's had a history of dishonesty, and they bring something like this out now. Why wouldn't they bring it out during the campaign?
And of course, these documents were from the Epstein estate, not from the Biden administration.
Like, oh yeah, why wouldn't the Epstein estate release this damaging letter to Trump during the campaign before any of this even started? Jasmine Crockett hit this thing over the head with how obvious of a lie this is.
On the drawing itself, the White House has denied that the drawing existed. They denied that it was Trump's signature. Tonight they are denying it, saying that releasing it as proof that it's not his signature. I mean, we showed obviously examples that mirror it. What do you make of the White House's defense here?
The fact that the president is a liar. I mean, he's consistent. I mean, that's all I really got for you. I mean, you know, here's the thing. We got this from the Epstein estate. This isn't something that came from a random Democratic something. This came from the estate. And so,
because basically that would have mean that someone had to forge this.
Correct.
Years ago. It didn't come from Democrats.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. Like, before he even got elected, remember when Epstein died, right? That was before Donald Trump got elected this time. And they would have had to have some kind of foresight that he was going to run for office again, somehow win again. And we've got to make sure that this is sitting here so that when a committee comes through to get this, then it's crazy.
Do you agree that even if that is his signature, having his signature on the letter doesn't constitute any wrongdoing or illegal action?
No, I think the biggest issue is the fact that he cannot be honest about it, right? Like, why lie? Because it doesn't implicate, right? But the fact that you're lying makes it look like, what else are you lying about? Those are the questions that we have. If you'll lie about something this simple, then when you're trying to tell us that you had nothing to do with these women or these girls, why should we believe you?
I mentioned that what the attorneys for the victims have been very clear about. I'm just repeating what is common knowledge and has been out in the public for a long time. President Trump was never a hindrance to the Epstein investigation. He was trying to assist in that. I don't know if I used the right word. I said FBI informant. I'm not sure. I wasn't there.
Is that common knowledge about President Trump trying to assist in the Epstein investigation? Have you seen any evidence of that?
That's the first time I heard of it. So I'm going to say no. I don't have any documentation to that effect. And I was able to sit down during the Bill Barr deposition. I don't recall the former Attorney General stating anything to that effect. I can't say what all he said, but I don't remember anything that would lead me to believe that he was informed of anything like that. So no, I would not say that. And we know that Bill Barr was the Attorney General, at least at the time that Epstein ended up dying. And so I would imagine that he would have the information as it relates to who the informants were and that kind of stuff. And I can just tell you point blank that it never came up that the president somehow was an informant for the FBI.
Here's Caroline Leavitt's response, which we can assume is somewhat official. The latest piece published by the Wall Street Journal proves this entire birthday card story is false. As I've said all along, it's very clear President Trump did not draw this picture, and he did not sign it. President Trump's legal team will continue to aggressively pursue litigation. Furthermore, the reporter, Joe Palazzolo, who wrote this hatchet job, reached out for a comment at the exact minute he published this story, giving us no time to respond. I highly doubt that. This is fake news to perpetuate the Democrat Epstein hoax. Again, I thought he worked with the FBI. How is this a hoax? Everyone just responded to this with instances of Trump's signature being verified and being exactly identical to the letter. It's clear that Trump and Epstein had a dark little secret that they liked to partake in. Enigmas they called little girls that they abused. I mean, this monster is the head of our nation. It's clear that it's going to take centuries to wash this orange stain out like the spaghetti stain in some Tupperware. If you guys want to stay up to date on everything that Trump would hate for you to know, then subscribe to Really American. I'm Tony Hinderman, and I'll catch you next time.